Hello there, students of economics. This is Teacher Shirley, your economics teacher, with a teaching module in economics titled Indian Economic Development from the time period 1950 to 1990. We have just previously learned about the state of the Indian economy on the eve of Indian independence. So it is right for us to move on in our study of the Indian economy. So are you ready to learn something new today? Yeah? So let's move on. In order to understand and better appreciate the economic structure and system prevailing in India, we will now learn about the types of economic systems prevailing in the world. First things first, let us understand what is an economic system. An economic system is defined as an arrangement by which the central problems of an economy are solved. The three basic central problems of an economic system are choice of production, that is, what goods and services should be produced in a country. Second, choice of technology, that is, how should the goods and services be produced? Should the producers use more human labor or more of capital for producing goods and services? Thirdly, distribution of goods and services. How should the goods and services that are produced be distributed among the people? Well, these are the central issues that are studied or dealt with by all economic systems. So therefore we call them the three basic central problems of every economy that every economy in the world faces. Now that we have defined what is an economic system, let us move on to study the types of economic systems. Well, here are the types of economic systems. On the basis of government intervention, economic systems can be classified as follows. The first one, socialist economy, also known as the centrally planned economy. The second, capitalist economy, also known as the market economy. And thirdly, the mixed economy. Let us study each of them and their features one by one. What is a socialist economy or a centrally planned economy? It is an economic system in which all economic decisions are taken by the government according to the needs of the society. The government intervenes in all matters relating to production and distribution of goods and services. A typical example of a socialist economy would be one existing in Cuba or in China. What is a socialist or a centrally planned economy? It is one that is under direct control of the government. Economic activities are regulated by the government. In other words, there is a set of rules and regulations that govern all economic activities like production, distribution, exchange, and consumption. In this system, it is the government that decides what goods are to be produced in accordance with the needs of society, how these goods are to be produced, and how they should be distributed. In other words, it is the government that deals with the basic problems that the economy faces. A socialist economy promotes equitable distribution of income and wealth. It ensures that there is equal distribution of income and wealth. So therefore, social welfare is the principal objective or motive of production activity. All the central problems are solved through the planning mechanism. This system ensures consumers' sovereignty, which means all economic activities are directed towards the satisfaction and the welfare of consumers. There is no competition in a socialist economy simply because there is no profit motive. We know that the motive is social welfare here, right? And also because of government control. So these are the features of a socialist or centrally planned economy. Let us move on to the next type of economic system, that is the capitalist economy or the market economy. We can see here two caricatures. They are discussing as to what are the other words for a capitalist economy. And you have Mr. Scholar here telling the other pigeon that the other words synonymous with capitalist economy are capitalism, free enterprise, laissez-faire economy, market economy, or private enterprise economy. Well, what is a capitalist economy? Capitalist economies are those that depend upon the market forces of demand and supply. In this type of economy, only those consumer goods will be produced that have good demand in the market and at the same time yield profit to the producers. Let us now study the features of a capitalist economy. It is a free economy where the market forces of demand and supply organize economic activities. We know the forces of demand comes from the side of consumers and the force of supply comes from the side of the producers. Well, they are allowed to freely interact with each other in the market system. The profit motive is the principal objective of all production activity. So the main motive of all business activity would be to make profit. There is no direct intervention by the government. The central problems of what, how, and for whom to produce are solved through the price mechanism. Unlike the socialist economy, where the problems were solved through the planning mechanism, over here the problems are resolved through the price mechanism. There is competition among firms in the market economy. This system encourages self-interest and thereby economic growth increases. The system overlooks social interest. Typical examples of this capitalist economic system would be North America, Japan, Australia, Western Europe. So these were the features of a capitalist or market economy. Now moving on to the next economic system which prevails in our country, that is the mixed economic system or the mixed economy. It is an economic system in which the public sector and private sector exist side by side together. In this economy, the market will provide whatever goods and services it can produce well, and the government will provide essential goods and services which the market fails to provide. What are the features of a mixed economy? In a mixed economy, important decisions are taken by the government and economic activities are conducted by the market. So we see there are enterprises run, managed, owned and controlled by the government. We call them public sector enterprises. And on the other hand, we have enterprises that are run, managed, controlled by entrepreneurs, businessmen, individuals, households in the society. So we call those enterprises the private sector. Well, in a mixed economy, important decisions are taken by the government and economic activities are conducted by the market. Profit motive is the objective of the private sector, and social welfare is the motive of the public sector. There is full control of the government in the private sector and partial control of the government in the private sector. How? In the form of rules and regulations that the private sector enterprises have to comply by. In a mixed economy, both price mechanism and planning mechanism function. So it is a mix of, you can say, the market economy and the centrally planned economy. In a mixed economy, competition exists, however, only in the private sector. Public sector and private sector undertakings might show inefficiency and corruption because they may be guided by self-motive. Having studied the three types of economic systems prevailing in the world, we are now in a position to be able to fill up this table. So this is an activity for you to complete. You have to draw the table down in your notebooks and you have to complete the table. So you have to try to identify, for example, what is the motive of production in a market economy. Here the motive would be profit motive. What is the motive of production in the centrally planned economy has to be written here. What is it? It is social welfare. What is the motive of production in the mixed economy? In the public sector, the motive is social welfare, and in the private sector, the motive is profit. So in this way, you have to fill up all the cells in this table after studying carefully each and every feature of all the three economic systems. In this teaching module, we have learned about the mixed economy and its features, the socialist economy and its features, and the capitalist economy and its features. You know, students, an ideal economic system would be one that tries to bring about equitable distribution of income and wealth, and such a system would be a just one. Well, I would like you students to try and identify economic systems in other countries around the world. Having come to the end of this teaching module, I would like to quote Martin Luther King. He says, "If our economic system is to survive, there has to be a better distribution of wealth. We can't have a system where some people live in superfluous, inordinate wealth, while others live in abject, deadening poverty." I think you and I would have to agree with Martin Luther King that an economic system would be just only if there is equal distribution of income and wealth. So thank you students for giving me a listening ear. I urge you to go through the video again, learn and study well every feature of all the three economic systems that we have learned today. Thank you so much.